the voice
The
on the phone every Wednesday for 5 years.
It's been a long haul on that one. That actually came out of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I always thought everybody knew what was going on, and I found out that they didn't. And so we were doing like Facebook, TV, radio, and so with that, I mean, we had to keep going, and just tell folks what was going on, and so it's been good. It's really good.
Well, I know that there's a lot
Yes.
going on. What's on your mind today?
Well, I think the first thing I'll do is maybe talk about some of the projects that we've got and how we got the status of those projects, and then how we went through those projects, make them come to fruition, and give some information rather than like Miracle on the Mountain. Miracle on the Mountain, of course, was a passion project, and I found out, that some folks, I'd say 95% of the folks are happy about it, but then you have five that are like, think that, oh, this might be a waste of money. We can do other things with it. So that project there, my goal from the very beginning. Of course, I could go through this story about how that was placed on my heart, and I feel like it was divinely put on my heart, and to go after something that was bigger than I ever thought that we could have, and with that assurance, hey, this is going to happen. So, we had the plan. The original plan was talking with some of the original folks about the idea of it. And then that project kind of grew. But the entire time, we have learned a whole lot. Before it was like $500,000 grants maximum, but you may have a $3 million project. And then time you take engineering fees and everything out of that, then there's really no money. Mm-hmm. So, but we've learned how to go after those other monies that we can make these projects come to fruition. So this project started out about $3 million, and four, then five, then six, and seven. And you're thinking how we get those monies. Well, we stack funding, and we know the resources that we go after. So LPRF, of course, Brian Clifford, that's head over that, is a really good director of that and everything. And so present that project to them. It was 50-50 at that time, so we were able to get half of it, right off the bat there. Then you have like the money that the Miracle on the Mountain folks had generated. I had one private donation for $500,000, $500,000.
That's unreal.
Governor Lee, direct allocation money. So we've captured all that money. I mean, and I can't say that it didn't cost Grundy County anything, but on paper, it didn't. I mean, we got all the money for the project. And so we wanted to, Grundy County's had to deal with crumbs for so long. No more. No more. That's our mindset, that Grundy County gets a piece of the pie. Not anything extra, but just what they deserve as far as what other folks have, services and recreation and everything. So that was one project. There was the Armory. Let's talk about the Armory for just a second. Grundy County needs post-education. Our kids, our children, which is our future, has to drive so far right now to get classes and everything. And it's hard on some folks. There are folks that struggle. And so by having classes there and having a building that can be used for community events and other things, I mean, right now, if you had it, let's say there was some type like a square dance or something somebody wanted to do, where are you going to have it at?
Yeah.
There's just no room. So now we have that, but tell you how that came about. Governor Lee had some money that he wanted to invest in this administration in 3-star, a one-time allocation. I think it was maybe tied to ARP monies. Normally that money would have been about the maximum I've ever seen. It was $50,000. But the purchase price of the Armory, we had to buy the building. And so again, we just waited, prayed. looking for ways. And then they came out with this 3-star, and it was geared toward distressed counties and everything. And guess what the maximum was? $1 million. So we applied for it, and we got it. And so we were able to purchase the armory. Um, Stone doors, that is fixing to start this spring. It's actually going to start this spring. It's like a anomaly somewhere. Where's that? Well, it's going to start this spring. That one was a project that we had lobbied for since, I know I was involved in it since 2012. Commissioner Salyers, he was talking about every time I see the mayor, he's either got a thumb drive or he has got paperwork for his county. And that was pretty much the truth. I'd see him he'd be hiking somewhere, it's not be on the trail. Hey, didn't know he was going to be here. Here's your thumb drive.
True story.
And so he, but that paid off. They I don't know if folks know about Governor Lee, and Governor Lee has done some things that I would have done differently for sure. But I know he loves Grundy County, and tell you the story a little bit on how I met Governor Lee. His county mayor called me and asked if I would meet with him, and I said yes, I would. And so we he was busy in the office that day, so Gail has an office off to the side there, that's all decorated up really good. So I didn't know who Bill Lee was. I said, it's so noisy in here. Let's go down here if it's okay with you. And we went down there. And so we talked about 20 minutes about rural Tennessee, particularly Grundy County, and how that we could move Grundy County forward. And then we spent about 45 minutes talking about our faith and why we do what we do. And so I know his heart. And I told him then, I said, that's going to be a vital piece to Grundy County is our parks and everything. And so in his second year, he funded phase 1. And before it was over, he funded phase 2. So that's a total of $115 million that's been invested there in that park. We just continue to look for things that we can do for the community. Another example of that is the food bank. So there was a grant through ARC. I knew, the food bank needed a building. So we did a ARC grant and a CDBG. And those totaled up to just about enough money to complete that. But one of the things is it had to serve with CDBG, it had to serve the community. And so one of the things that we did is we had a portion of that for a storage area for records and everything, which now Grundy County for a long time was one of about 2 or 3 counties that did not have an archives. So now we have an archives. That's where the county archives are. So again, we used grant money. We knew how to stack funding. We was able to get the stone doors. The food bank built. So we're tell you another quick story about how some of the things that people don't know that we do. When we was at Miracle on the Mountain, those pine trees that were there and the oak, that's a resource. So we were able to give some of that to the Swiss Heritage for them to be able to build a recreation of one of the cabins. But there was a lot of oak trees there. So inmates, we were able to use inmates and everything. And so we had about 12 rick of wood, and we were able to give that to a 501c3 because county law is we can't give stuff away, but we can to 501c3, and then they can give it away.
Really?
So that's what we did. We gave it to a 501c3 organization, and even got hatchets and busted it up and gave it away. So that was really good. I know some families that really benefited from that firewood that was used there. So, but we continue to always look for things. One of the things that you have to have, Ava, is financial security. if you don't have financial security, you cannot build. You're not building your house on solid rock. You're building it on sand that can crumble at any time. So we've been very careful. We invest money. We take chances. We take some chances, but we take well calculated, well planned chances, and so it's paid off for us. And as you know, it's good to go when you have a meeting with a state and all the counties of the state, and then they flash Grundy County's name up on the board and say, "Here's folks that are doing it right," and this is an
I
example.
love that.
Yeah, that's my folks right there. Yeah, that's us. So, but a lot going on. Uh, do we have enough time to talk about the budget a little bit?
Well, it seems to be a hot topic these
Yeah.
days. So if you don't mind, obviously we like to talk about all the good news, and this is good news, I guess. But yeah, I mean, let's do it.
Yeah, I think folks, it can be quite complex, especially when you have grant funds that are funding an account. That grant goes away. How is the budget even compiled together? It can be complex if you don't know what's going on. So Grundy County has about give or take 50 budgets, and so the budget has to be passed as a whole. You can't pass every one of them and say this one budget we're going to look at later. It has to be a all or nothing. So you can't push something through, as a term I've heard, that it all has to be done as a whole. So we start the budget process in March. Yeah. So we're about ready to start a new budget process here pretty soon. 50 budgets, and so we have a budget and finance committee, and that's made up of 3 commissioners. I appoint that and confirmed by the chairman. So I choose one from each district. Mm-hmm. This last time, I chose the one that has the most votes, and so those commissioners sat on that. They go through every bit of this, and I appreciate the job that they do. They do look at a lot during that time. So each department, with the exception of the mayor's doesn't have this, mayor's budget doesn't have this, but all the other constitutional offices have memorandums of understanding, meaning that there's something by law that says in that budget. Like, for example, the election commission. That law says that the election commission must have funding equal to like election years. So you cannot go below that. So what they got this time, like election, has to be put in the budget, the minimum. Of course, we exceed that. I mean, over time, it has to be that way. Other offices deal a lot of times with salaries. The sheriff's office is one of those that has memorandum of understanding that says you cannot never drop salaries below the current levels. That's state law. So if there's $10 an hour, next year there's got to be $10 an hour. It can never go to $9.50, $9.75. There has to be $10 an hour. So that's one of them that you have to be mindful of that. You have to be mindful of that, or you cannot reduce the number of deputies neither in that scenario. So they look at all these budgets. Then a lot of times what they'll do is, some offices, if you don't watch it, there'll be salary gaps. Some will make more than others. And so whatever they do try to do it across the board. So they talk about office supplies, other things, and then they'll go into salaries. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll try to do it across the board. So this year was no different. We went through all the budgets, and then looked on what the budget could stand as far as salary increases. And it came out to about 5%. And so we did 5% across the board. But we did notice in the sheriff's department that we did 6.2% just based off the previous year's spending. So that was done across the board. And how they do that is just like, say, for example, the sheriff's department, they'll add 6.2% increase in that. assessor property, 5%, mayor's office 5%, and then that's up to the official how they disperse that money. So just kind of just want to clear the air on that one. Is they did that across the board, fair to everyone, and they love to give everybody $1 million, but like I said, at the same time, you have to have financial stability. We hadn't had a tax revenue rate increase since 2014, and that is impressive because I know counties around us. I talk to other county mayors and some of the things that they're going through in their budget and everything, and that just when I talk to them, it just makes me even more mindful of how we need to really look at our budgets and make sure that we're just doing what we need. Not most time, everything that we want.
Why do other counties seem to have to raise their taxes? What are the bugaboos with them that's not happening?
Most of the time, I think growth sometimes does not keep up with spending. I watch growth. And everything on our budgets. But a lot of times it's just, in budgets, there's two things. There's spending and there's revenues. And so when one gets out of kilter, that's whenever it starts. So if you reoccurring charges like salaries, if you create a department, that salary, that cost, they talk about doing a financial department for our county, which I think would be great and good whenever we could structure it how we need it to, and we could do that. But you're talking about $200,000 and more expense right now.
To add a department.
To add a finance department. Wow. And,
So it's government growth.
It's government growth is what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Government growth will outgrow your tax revenues. Wow. And so, sometimes folks get hit in counties. Like I've had several conversations with different county mayors about it's not necessarily a mandate, but it kind of sort of is when they tell you we're going to take your inmates out and we're going to to build jails, and that's a biggie for a lot of folks because they may have a building that's already paid for and staff, but then you get a bigger facility, you have the debt service on it, then you have the insurance on it, then you have the increase in staff. So it's just it's government growth is exactly what it is, and that's the reason why we watch things. We watch things in our budget to make sure that we are getting the things that to serve the people of Grundy County, but we're just not doing it as frugal spending. We look at things right now. I'll go ahead and give folks a little idea on what's fixing to happen in the next year or so. Trash, we're drowning in it. We are just drowning in trash. Coming. We're drowning in it, and we've done processes and everything, but we're maxed out on that, and we're breaking even right now. But to get there, I've had to take extra money from here, and balance that budget. And we're hauling our services and things out one truckload at a time. So how can we mitigate that? How can we solve that? So we're growing as a county. We are growing. So I've got a plan. I run it by the experts, and they're like, yeah, that's going to work. So we are going to do a transfer station.
I've heard about
it. So it should bring the waste in, and you contract it hauled out, and it's like a 3-year contract. That's going to be that's going to help us with growth. Also, we know what we're going to pay ahead of time, and actually, it's going to save us money. I've run the numbers, and it's going to save us money. So
we will not let trash
dictate. No. I was in Knoxville, and I was meeting with some folks, and we was going through this exercise, and they's like, "What do you want the headline to be for Grundy County in 5 years?" And I said that Grundy County is no longer distress status, and Grundy County solves trash burden. So
Goals, man.
it is goes out that one because
That's been a bugaboo for a hot minute.
yeah, we've got like 9 centers, and you talk about that's 9 employees. That's 2 trucks. Those guys run nonstop, and at times with volume increase, they can't keep up.
Mm-mm.
They can't keep up. We're getting a lot of out of county trash, and we're getting a lot of it. I know you talk about getting a sticker, and there's other things. I think we're going to have to do something. I mean, it's just not fair for the taxpayers of Grundy County.
And construction trash.
Yeah. I mean, construction. Yeah, tires.
Tires will eat you up.
We had one guy call me. I think he might have been from Whitville. He said, "What time's your tire center close?" I was like, 6 o'clock. Where are you from, buddy? I'm from Marion. I said, "Well," I said, "Well, you can't take your tires here." "Well, I can't take them down here. They charge me." So we can, yeah. So no, don't bring them here. So, but anyways, we got a really good plan for that one too, and it's going to start. I'm going to talk with some of the commissioners and everything, and see who all needs to be on that advisory committee, and then we're going to go look at some. Go look at them, see how they operate, talk to the folks that run them, and get a really good plan. And just me, I'm already looking for funding. To see how we can build that where it doesn't cost Grundy County anything.
Okay, this is Billy's last budget. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? Swing for the stars?
Yeah. They, I know, but we have a really good relationship with the state of Tennessee government. I mean, everything from F&A to outdoor rec to TDEC to ECD, Economic Community Development. We have a really good relationship with those folks, and whoever the next governor is, I think that they'll see that talent pool, because there's some really good commissioners and some really good deputy commissioners, and I think that they will keep those folks, a majority of them. But we've got a relationship established with them. They know what we do. They know our credibility, and we'll keep on keeping on.
Wow. All right. I think this may be one of the last questions. Biosolids.
Biosolids. So we had a bill up there that I introduced. It was heavily debated. I mean, it was from news stations there to even Farm Bureau. Mm-hmm. The local Farm Bureau folks have been very adamant about how they oppose it, and in its current form, and how the regulations and things need to be changed. But the state Farm Bureau, for whatever reason, they were dug in on it. They were dug in on it, but we got that through the Senate. I mean, it went through Senate vote. We got it through after 2 different deliberations on it. You was up there for the House committee. And that was a tough one. It was tough, and I know why it was tough. But they tabled it to this legislation. But out of that, what we did is we were able to bring and shine a light on it, and what we were claiming was factual, and it was credible, and so other folks ran with that, and they're like, "Hey, Grundy County's got something here," and so I think they've got a process now that TDEC is working with the city of Chattanooga to make it Class A. And if they do make it Class A, that will greatly reduce the likelihood of heavy metals, PFAS, things like that.
Yucky stuff in there.
It would get in the ground, and and so if they do that, that would be a huge help
Would that
because
be acceptable compromise?
I think so, because the smell, you know, that's one thing people notice is, and I know it's atrocious, but the the chemicals is what had me
Yeah,
so
it's horrible.
concerned.
Cancer, and you can't tell me.
Yeah, Grundy County has a high, rate of cancer. And if you look, sometimes you say there's a pocket here, and I mean, you can look, that's getting there somewhere or something. And so anything that deals with that, I'm always looking, saying, there could be a link here. I definitely think there's a possibility of a link for that. I do. PFAS is forever chemical. It doesn't go away. Heavy metals. I mean, if you have a certain level of heavy metals, uh, it will condemn your property. They'll come in and they'll say you can never use this again. And why would you take a chance on that?
Well, and I feel that we probably were a dumping ground back.
There, I've been told of some things that would go right along with what you just said. That hey, I seen this here, I seen this here. You didn't talk about it and all that. And I'm like, but that's the reason why Grundy County has a cancer organization that looks at all this stuff, testing water, testing ground, and I appreciate those folks, because you don't see them. They're not out here getting the pictures taken and the articles in the paper and everything. But they are. They're out there. They're looking, and they're also working with Vanderbilt University. Yes. So Vanderbilt is trying to see where this link is here in Grundy County. So yeah, I appreciate those folks, but it's rolled over. We'll see. I'll talk to Representative Rickham and say, hey, do we need to go up there and start, or do we create enough noise for them to do something? But just let folks know what we actually presented was a bill that said that gave Grundy County the authority to enforce the EPA regulations, which is already what the state should be doing. They should be enforcing those. They're just not doing it. And so we were able to show where they're not doing it, but we just asked for the authority to let us enforce them.
Let us, take care of our own.
Yeah. We know our folks better than they do, for sure.
Well, speaking of, and another topic that was this year, I'm kind of thinking of all the things that came up this year. The Supreme Court, Tennessee Supreme Court ruling. Do we inspect that? And do we think that's going to come out shortly about the County Powers Act?
I would expect it about any time. That ruling, again, tell you about the County Powers Act real briefly is we're not zoned, and zoning doesn't work in rural Tennessee. It just doesn't work. And so we were looking at ways to protect the people of Grundy County. And so the County Powers Act, which Charlie Curtis, I know you know Charlie Curtis, state rep, he was one of those that created that bill.
Up in White County.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie. I went hiking with him one time. He's a retired Marine.
Oh,
And he was a retired Marine, and he worked in masonry work. And we went hiking at Stone Doors, and listen, he walked my legs off, and I'd say, Charlie, slow down. He said, pick them up, son. Let's go. And but yeah, the Supreme Court ruling of the County Powers Act is Grundy County has 4 County Powers Act. One has to deal with adult entertainment. One that deals with encampments, one that deals with pain management facilities, and then one that deals with rock quarries. And so that the rock quarry one was clearly violated, and it was ignored because they had never even heard of the County Powers Act. And so we just enforced it. It was taken to Chancery Court, Appellate Court, and then Supreme Court in the state of Tennessee. I think we have a really good case on that one. And so I expect to run any time on that, but it's just, you don't want to infringe on anyone's rights to have a business and everything, but whenever it affects multi-million-dollar developments, there could have been a different way. There could have been a different way with that one, but we will see.
It's just about being a good neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're rural, there are some folks that take advantage of us.
Yeah, had the adult entertainment one challenged. There was a store down in Pelham that
Yeah.
was going to be a super adult store there. What you have, and so called the guy and I said, "Hey, I just seen on Facebook somebody gave me this clip. It says y'all doing an adult entertainment store." He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Y'all not zoned." I said, "Yeah," but I said you should check the County Powers Act. And he was real hateful, and so I emailed him a copy of it. And so the next day he called this guy, Mr. Brady, Mayor Brady. I'd like to talk with you and everything. So we went down there. Me, the commission chair, then the sheriff, which was Daniel, and we went down there and I just talked to him and I was like, not here. Not the way you can't prohibit that stuff, but you can regulate it and under the County Powers Act. And so he chose. I tried to get him to do a different type of business or something there, and he didn't want to do that. And one of the things is those are fronts. I mean, I looked at their fronts for other criminal activity. We had uh, reports where that crime had increased 60% in those areas, and whenever they were closed, they decreased by 60%. So that's a direct link between the two, and we just didn't need that there. We just didn't need that.
And
stuff.
once they set up shop, like we had one in Monteagle that went in as a legitimate massage parlor,
Yeah.
and turned out it wasn't. But it takes a hot minute to close them down.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And what really concerned me about that area is it's right by the interstate, and there is this thing called human trafficking, and it's scary, and to think that an innocent person could get caught up in that, and so we didn't need it, we didn't want it. I'll never regret that. We didn't need that, and it was and so just praise the Lord that we had the forethought to have a law in place that protected Grundy County, and I think the county commission too, because you've got a our commission is real conservative.
They're very conservative.
And so you take something to them. Hey, we need this, and I look at them and I say, you know, and sometimes this stuff's just put on my heart. And before I act on it, I do my research and everything. But say, hey, adult stores, and they're like, adult stores, what are you talking about here? And I show them all this, and I say, this is a perfect place here, and 4 or 5 places in the county, and there's like, okay, so
Yeah.
I appreciate them for taking that leap of faith to have a yes vote to do that.
Well, the pain clinics are, obvious one, but the encampment, what came up that started that discussion?
Encampments I just saw in some other areas were homeless, were kind of homesteading some land that somebody may a land company or something, and I was like, that could very well happen here because we have a lot of land companies and everything here. So sure enough, we did that one, and it was about maybe a year, and this was right in COVID time. There was 100 acres in Tracy City that a foreign investor had for capital gains that had essentially opened it up to free reign homeless or anybody. It was just an investment to have there, and so I was able to have a conversation with the owner, and I was like, if you want to do that, you got to do this, this, and this, and this. We can't tell you can't, but you got to have the health department and everything else involved, and so they elected not to do it. But I mean, just think
That's
about
amazing.
that. Think about 100 acres free reign. Anybody that just want to go out there and set a tent or whatever, go out there and just whatever. And so that was another example. We had always been challenged. We had a company out of Florida and Alabama that and this was a few years back. This was like 2016. That was notorious for writing scripts, and they were looking in Grundy County. I know for a fact they were looking in Grundy County, and I was able to tell them this is the places where you can do it. And basically, what the law says is you cannot have one within a 13-mile radius of any existing one. So if you do that, I mean, it was going to be challenging to have more than one. You know, there's good folks that need that. I mean, I know there's good folks that need that, and I don't want them to feel like that I'm saying, you know, they've doing something wrong or anything. It was just that type of, we didn't need that in Grundy County, and so yeah, every one of them has been challenged, and it's held strong.
It's held. This is like the final. They couldn't take it to the regular Supreme Court, did they?
No, this is a state law. The only way they could do it would say that it's unconstitutional, but like on some of those interstate commerce acts, no, that's already been to the Supreme Court and tried before, and so this would be it. There's a lot of counties that
they're looking.
They're looking.
Because they're in the same situation.
Putnam County, they actually took our paperwork and basically changed it from Grundy to Putnam.
Why didn't Marion go forward with that? That was kind of strange.
Yeah, it was, and I did talk with Mayor Jackson. You know, I certainly don't want to give him any advice to do with his folks and everything, but I did talk with him, and I guess what the main concern was is they felt like that was going to start more regulation, and it's going to evolve into something else. And so let me be clear on this point. The County Powers Act, and it's written into the law that says that it cannot interfere with agriculture at all.
That's right.
So you cannot do anything with agriculture. And I just heard some of those folks over in Marion County that would call and ask some questions about ours, and they'd say, well, I'm just scared that they're going to say I can't even have but maybe one or two chickens. I was like, no, that's not what the law is. It says that you can has no authority over agriculture. So that I think they were just nervous about it.
Sure.
Like you know, Putnam County, they were just in a pickle, and they needed it, and they wished they had it a long time ago. Warren County, you know, they had a big vote on it down there in Warren County, and I talked with their commissioners. I even talked with Mayor Bell, and I said, hey, I don't care to come testify before your commission. If you think it'll do any good, I said, I'm not saying I'm going to say anything that you want. He said they're set on it, and so he said
they didn't want it.
They didn't, and it's
and that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine if they don't feel like it's what they need. That's absolutely fine. But like one of the commissioners, I was talking with him. I said, just look at it like this: you guys can rescind it. Mm-hmm. You can rescind the action. You can tailor it to whatever y'all feel like. And then, of course, there is a real. I have a concern, and I know other mayors and commissioners and other elected officials have about this influx of population. Mm-hmm. Right now in Grundy County, yes, we do have some folks moving in, but most of them are pretty level-headed. That's not the case in a lot of counties. Oh, yeah. They leave there to come to here, but they want to make here there. And that's not...
And they're loud and mouthy.
Very, very loud. And I know in Marion County, this election's very contested.
Really?
It is very... you know, what I've been, just the people that I talk to is, you know, you just have all these folks, I mean, moving in that have just a different idea. And I don't want us to ever lose Grundy County.
How do we manage that?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
It's got to be a test before you move in.
Yeah, you got to pass a test. Well, I think a lot of things is what we're doing, and it was intentional that tourism. People look at tourism, they think that's an influx. No, that's folks that come in. They walk your trails, they buy your goods, they buy your gas, they create jobs for you, and they leave their money and they go home.
They go home.
They go home. So, what is happening in some of these other areas as they're building these subdivisions? We are a low tax state. Cost of living is a lot different here. Whenever you're, say, in California, you have a 2,000 square foot home that you can sell, and you can come down here and buy 10 acres and a 3,500 foot home. That's these subdivisions, these huge developments of subdivisions. Commissioner, it's Andy Holt now. There's so many acres that we lose every hour in the state of Tennessee to development. And I think, I'm not saying folks shouldn't have the right to convey their property, but I think maybe the state needs to look at, and they do have something in place now where they incentivize something with taxation or
That's
something that encourages folks to keep their property.
That's right.
Tennesseans keeping their property. And I think that's a good mindset. I mean, I'm one, and we may have a difference of opinion on this. I don't like planning commissions. I just don't like planning.
No, there's no difference of opinion.
Yeah, I just don't like planning commissions. One of the reasons is that you have to ask the right to convey. And if I have an acre of property and I want to divide that acre into 4 pieces and give each child a fourth of an acre, I think I ought to be able to do that.
Yep.
And where planning commissions, I have to ask permission. And so, that's, I think that's where our problem as far as, and we've been able to kind of, I had a conversation yesterday with a Grundy County native that's doing good for himself, and we're kind of talking about 2 things: workforce housing and affordable housing. There's a big difference there. We do have a housing need in Grundy County, and it's third party developers that we've got to entice to come here and get something that's affordable and nice. And so it's not that I'm trying to say housing is a bad thing, but those big developments like that, they have a blessing, but they also have a curse. And so that's more water, more sewer, and everything. So,
are you water worthy? That's my whole thing in Montego. Are you water worthy?
Water worthy.
Well, then come on.
Speaking of water, and that will probably take an hour or so to even talk about the topic, but the down in Pelham, but that's a go. That's a go.
That's unreal.
It's gonna happen. And just to shed a little light on what we were talking about there is it's water throughout Paynes Cove and sewer to Paynes Cove and the interstate. And so,
is it 2 separate projects, or how did
we separated into 3?
Okay.
And all 3 passed. And if Grundy County is ever going to move forward, you've got to have the infrastructure. You've got to have those seeds of prosperity that are buried in the form of water and sewer lines. So that helps. So we have a plan. I know there's some talk about, we're setting Grundy County up for depreciation money. That's all paid by ratepayers. And, over this project with the sewer and water, Comptroller Mumpower was in meetings with that. The governor, TDEC, you name it, the tuber board was there involved in this, so it was like a state project.
It was a who's who. I got
Yeah.
calls too. It was a who's who was working on it.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was working on it, and but it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and we just have to make sure that the taxpayers in Grundy County are protected. We're not overexposing the county, and so that's what the whole issue was during that, is how do we do that? And so there's a couple avenues that we can go down. I like the one better than the other. so we will see. We will see. So
Lots of exciting. I know there's. I almost feel like don't you feel like you are hit with a fire hose like all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, especially because it took a while to get where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because projects just don't come out of the sky. Yeah, it takes years to get where you're at. Now they're all hitting. I mean, how do you deal with that?
It is very time consuming right now. And I just, I want to apologize to the public, because there for a while I was getting out into the public, just talking, stopping at a gas station, talking with folks and talking about things going on in Grundy County. I mean, we are, somebody the other day said, what are you doing today, Michael? Taking a nap? I said, yeah. And then I told him all the projects, and of course he was aggravating me. But, you have the stone doors right now. You have the TCAT classes at the Armory. You have Miracle on the Mountain. You have the health department. I didn't even talk about
the health department.
The health department. Grundy County need a health department, and we compelled and the state and those folks, and we come up with a way, and so now we're in construction of that. And so I'm not a construction manager, but you would be surprised what I see on some of these projects when I go out there. So I make it a point to go out there and look at the plans and look at the specs and make sure, if it says 8 inches of concrete, and let me see your mixtures and whatever, and you'd just be surprised.
You're not saying that they would fudge on something like that, would they?
I'll say I don't think they would do it intentionally,
Okay.
but if it was time constraint, they may say just let it go, because it's tough for time. But anyways,
Wow.
we keep an eye on things, because whenever we didn't have a project manager when we built the jail, and there were some people that had applied for that position, and they were like local, all of them were like local, and the commission couldn't make a decision, so they said we just won't do one. So that left me, and then the sheriff tried to do that.
I remember that.
And so we went out there, and all the and the violent inmates had a section that had cells, but then the rest of it was supposed to be in dormitory type. Well, I come out there, and I was like, this section here is female, and there's cells in it. And they's like, yeah, we just got them put in the other day. And so that was $120,000 lick, because it's supposed to be in dormitory. And so I was like, that would have been worth its weight. I had a project manager there that said, no, this is dormitory to save money.
Yep.
And then things like ceramic toilets. Well, what's the first thing they do is kick the back off from it, and then take the pole and maybe hit a deputy or something. So stainless steel.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that, and that you have to watch. And so it's unfortunate, but that's something that you have to do.
All right, I swear our last question, because when you're here, I mean, we could talk like days.
Oh, yeah,
on stuff.
yeah.
Like, we're both nerds when it comes to government and politics. because there's so many moving parts and you have to pay attention, and you're so good at it. I hear it all the time when I'm up in Nashville and talking to my folks. Chief lobbyist from Grundy County.
Yeah, the mayor lobbyist.
Mayor lobbyist. Down the pike, I've always felt like our as we've shore up everything, our last little shoring up is our school, right? So we've gone through a lot of different, just lots of things, and it's been hard. On the horizon is the discussion about a middle school.
You hear whispers, of a middle school, and I'm not going to say I'm for or against one. But I would tell you, in my opinion, what I think the best process would be for a middle school or any change that you have. First of all, you have to have good planning for that. Second of all, which is very important, is to have communication. And then you have to have a financial plan on that. So what I mean by those three things, and I'll address them real quick, is if that's a middle school that you're looking at, get the credible evidence. How does it benefit your children? How does it maybe not benefit your children? Are you going to have better education? Because that's what it's about.
That's
education.
Really what it's about.
Is it going to be security? Is the security of the facility going to be adequate? Because I hear rumors maybe the high school combination. Need to vet all that out. And then if you look and say this is something we need to do, then you need to have a plan in place. Say this is how we're going to phase this in. Talk with the parents. I can tell you from experience, whenever I was in second grade, I went to Burstable Springs, if that tells you my age.
Wow.
And then my mother, they were building North Elementary to do away with Altamont and Burstable Springs. Mm-hmm. So my mother said, I want you to go to second grade in Altamont so you get to know those kids.
Oh.
And so I went from Burstable Springs in kindergarten, first grade. Second grade went to Altamont. And then in third grade, Miss Bonnie Reben was my teacher. Wow. And I can remember it. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I remember that. But they was planning. I knew what to expect as a child. At a child at that age, they need to know what's going on too. And then third piece of that would be you have to have, again, the financial stability. You can't have a pie in the sky dream if you can't pay for it. And so how do we do that? And with the idea is, we're not going to put this burden on the backs of the Grundy County taxpayers. We've got to find a way how we can liquidate things, how we can do things like the jail. I don't want to sound braggadocious, but the jail worked perfectly how we did that one, because we did it on a 40-year USDA. And you say 40 years, that never was a plan to pay for it for 40 years. The plan was to pay extra on the principal, but if we had a cash flow issue, we could just revert back to the principal. And so that's worked well. So in the last 3 years, I paid $1 million off on the principal, above and beyond what we've already paid. So we're going to pay that facility off early, way, way, way early. And so that's kind of the things that they need to be thinking about now with, if this is something you're going to do. First of all, is it what you need? Second is how we can get everybody informed about it and make a logical decision on how to proceed forward with it, and then how you're going to pay for it.
Okay.
So.
And everyone would have to work together on
Yeah,
that.
everybody. It would have to be you'd have to involve a commission, your parents, Board of Education, the director, myself. Everybody would need to be involved in that, and so it would go a lot smoother, and we like smooth. So.
Praise and glory on that one. All right. Any, you're probably going to have to come on for your State of the Union address.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I like to do that. I like to get the books out and the projects, and then show folks how we're moving forward. You look at your one of the telltale things is your poverty rating. How that's dropping, how our curve is a gradual climb, and how that's sustainable. And then how we're going to look at some things in the future, and how we can think outside the box to get the services and the job creation and economic development that the people of Grundy County deserve.
Well, that's exciting. Well, it's also election season. I saw you threw your hat in again.
Yeah, yes. I'm a excited. We got a lot of projects and everything that we are. I want to finish those. I want to finish those. I want to be able to continue to work for the people of Grundy County, and of course, I'd appreciate everybody's consideration on that.
Well, that's a whole nother segment.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
All right, well, I'm going to send Mayor Brady out to spread joy and sunshine on his near birthday. You and baby Jesus and Frida.
December 25th. The gentleman that works, that did our splash pad, I was talking to him, and he just had a baby Friday. And I said, as a December baby, let me tell you, I always make it special because it is a tough time. I just told somebody, well, maybe I just won't quit having birthdays. I just won't have no more. But anyways, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right, we're going to head out, take a quick break, thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back. As always, thanks for watching Morning on the Mountain. I'll see you in a minute.